What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another NFL recap. Divisional round, the first game of the divisional round. Kansas City Chiefs take it over the Indianapolis Colts, the number one seed in the AFC. Does move on over the underdog Colts. This is going to be a very strange game to recap because it was a very weird game. It was just about everything you didn't expect. First off, the Kansas City defense played very well, which is not something that you would expect, but we'll get into that and what that means going forward for the Chiefs. Second thing, the Colts offense played very poorly. Third thing, the Chiefs offense started off really well and then didn't play well in the second half. So it was a very weird game to even discuss and even recap and even talk about. So we're going to try and find our way and filter our way through it, but the Chiefs did play a good game, and they are going to advance to the AFC Championship to play rather the New England Patriots or the LA Chargers at home. So I'm sure Kansas City fans are excited. They finally won a playoff game at home. They got that curse out of the way. Patrick Mahomes did his thing today, and the Chiefs move on. So we'll talk about that. 31-13 Chiefs. All right, so the Chiefs do go up 14-0 in the first quarter. It looks like the Chiefs might even blow the Colts completely out because the Colts have been known in bad weather to get blown the F out. Now, it wasn't quite a blowout, I would say, because the Chiefs continued to almost try and lose the game in the second half, where they continuously gave opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to what appeared to be a much worse Indianapolis Colts team. And the Colts just weren't able to capitalize on those opportunities that the Chiefs wanted to give them. And the Colts just straight up couldn't do anything on offense and execute, and were not able to move the ball and not able to score. And then even when they were able to score or move the ball, the greatest bad weather kicker in history missed 2 kicks. So it's a very strange game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. But let's get into the performances. So Chiefs 31, Colts 13. Let's start off with the winning team, the Chiefs. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, 27 for 41, 278. Was sacked 4 times, did not throw a touchdown, but did run for 1. He also had 8 yards rushing in 1 touchdown. And was sacked 4 times, like I said, but not a ton of pressure. Really, there was not any pressure by the Colts defense until the second half. In the second half, they should have done what they did in the second half in the first half. There should have been more pressure by the Colts defense put on Mahomes in terms of extra guys sending at the quarterback, more blitzes. We saw a couple of corner blitzes from the Colts defense in the second half that worked really well, and they disguised them very well. But in the first half, not enough pressure. Mahomes was able to sit back there, move around a little bit, scramble to the right, scramble to the left, and make those really nice throws that he always does outside the pocket, whether that's, finding his way to maneuver his arm, his hand into a way that he can accurately throw the football to Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, or whoever he needed to throw the ball to. The first third down of the game, he made an awesome pass, basically running to the right, throwing across his body, and he has this ability, I don't know if any of you guys are hockey fans out there, but this was like what Wayne Gretzky was really good at. He could see the player without actually seeing the player there. And that's something that Patrick Mahomes, not a lot of quarterbacks really have that trait, because it's a very difficult trait for a quarterback to have. Usually when you're a quarterback, you don't actually throw the ball where you're not looking. But when Patrick Mahomes sees the player there, he knows he's going to be there. He moves to the right. He doesn't see him in his frame, but he's able to see in the corner of his eye that the guy's there, and he throws that pass. I think he did that a couple of times in this game where it was just, you have to applaud him, and there's not much you can do defensively. There were a lot of errors by the Indianapolis defense. They went offside 3 or 4 or 5 times. I was screaming. If I was a Colts fan, I would have been tearing my hair out. They made some really stupid plays. A couple of times when Mahomes is looking to scramble, 3 guys run at him and he just pops it over to a guy running for a first down. there were some things in this game by the Colts defense. They just looked immature. They looked like they weren't ready for the moment. They looked inexperienced. And that was the hope that the Colts wouldn't be that way for this game to be a good game. But overall, the Colts offense, or the Chiefs offense, was mostly able to take advantage of the Colts errors and able to move the ball down the field. Wasn't a perfect game from the Chiefs offense, but I would say the number one thing they did really well, which was a little bit unexpected, was running the ball. 25 carries, 129 yards. They had 5.2 yards per carry by Damian Williams and a touchdown. Especially early on, they were able to run the ball when they wanted to. They were able to establish the ground game, and that, I think, really helped Patrick Mahomes get into a rhythm. When you look on the opposite side, Marlon Mack wasn't able to get into a rhythm until the fourth quarter when the Chiefs were playing pass defense, and that didn't help Andrew Luck get in a rhythm either. And with Damian Williams being able to run the way he was, with the offensive line being able to block the way they were, the Colts defense was just totally taken off guard. And this allowed for a few easy drives early in this game for the Chiefs. You also had that 36-yard rushing touchdown by Tyreek Hill. You had, what else? A couple runs by Darrell Williams later in the game. There was a fumble by Sammy Watkins, which pretty much almost gave the Colts like another opportunity to get in this game, like another opportunity. But again, the Chiefs defense was able to come up with the play. And I think you got to give credit to the Chiefs defense for when their offense wasn't able to get it going, when their offense was sort of slowing down in the second half. Their defense came through with a number of plays and stops to get the ball back and to finish the game off. And if you're a Chiefs fan, you just hope that is what their defense is like going forward. You hope that's what it's like against the Chargers or Patriots next week. You hope that's what it's like in the Super Bowl if you make it that far. And if the defense can continue to get a pass rush the way they did in this game, continue to make plays the way they did in this game, and continue to make some stops in key moments in this game, like the first three drives, the drives in the second half, when the team looks like they're going to start a comeback, the Chiefs defense shut the door, and that's exactly what they needed to do. Looking at the receivers, Travis Kelce had one of the most quiet 108-yard games I've ever seen. But yeah, he had 108 yards on 7 catches. I think because a lot of it was Patrick Mahomes' marvel of just him throwing the ball like sidearm or like moving out of the pocket and finding him open. Like, a lot of Travis Kelce's big gains were because of Patrick Mahomes making ridiculous passes and throws. So I feel like that's what takes away from what Travis Kelce did in this game. But again, we thought he'd have a big game. This is against the worst tight end defense in the league, and he executed. Sammy Watkins was nice in his return. Tyreek Hill had a few plays, but also dropped a couple passes, was a little bit off on a couple of routes. Wasn't his best game. I expect a little bit better from him, but he did have one long rushing touchdown, and he did fumble the ball on a punt return, which was almost recovered by the Colts, but wasn't. So they were lucky there. Defensively, Justin Houston was a stud, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. Dee Ford, 1 sack, 1 fumble forced, 4 tackles by Dee Ford. They were both big in the running game, shutting down the zone runs of the Colts. What else? The secondary overall for the Chiefs played a lot better than they have all year. This was probably their best game defensively all year, and their secondary played really well. They were very competitive in man coverage, and for the most part, they got the better of the Colts receivers, so that's impressive. And now looking at the Colts, Andrew Luck had a really off game for the most part. He made a couple of throws, but for the most part, like, he was getting a lot of passes tipped down by Jones. Chris Jones was awesome. Justin Houston was awesome. Dee Ford was great. They were all getting a pass rush. They were all consistently pushing the pocket in, collapsing the pocket, and Andrew Luck really had nowhere to throw, and he was on an awkward angle to throw the ball. But not just his offensive line that got overwhelmed by the pass rush of the Chiefs, which was very unexpected, but Andrew Luck just didn't seem to have the same zip on the ball. He kind of looked like the Luck we've seen in New England in past playoffs. He just wasn't as accurate. He wasn't really as into it. And I feel like a lot of that is due to the weather. For whatever reason, Andrew Luck is not a great bad weather quarterback. And again, it showed in this game. 78 passer rating, 203 yards, no interceptions, but he did only throw 1 touchdown. And a lot of his yards came in garbage moments of the game. Rushing the ball, Marlon Mack, again, wasn't able to run it early. They were able to run it late due to circumstance. Receiving, you got to give a hand to T.Y. Hilton, whether you're a Colts or a Chiefs fan. He did have a big touchdown in this game later to kind of get them a little bit back into the game. But, I mean, the guy's harding it out with a bad ankle and probably a serious injury. So I give him credit for his game, even though, you know, he wasn't the same T.Y. Hilton we saw. Eric Ebron, I thought, was awful in this game. There was a few key errors he had, like catching the ball short of the first down, dropping the ball on 3rd down on the first series of the game. What was that one guy at the end of the game? Just awful drop. Fountain. It didn't even matter, but it was just a terrible play. I thought Dontrell Inman overall was their best receiver in this game. 4 catches on 4 targets for 55 yards. Probably should have went to him a little bit more. Chester Rogers was inconsistent a little bit. And overall, like Rogers, Pascal, Inman, Hilton, they all really, really struggled to separate against the defensive backs of the Chiefs. The Chiefs won that battle. The Colts didn't. And this looked like a beat-up receiving core that was going against a team that came off the bye. That's really what it looked like. Defensively, Jabal Sheard had a decent game later in the second half. Same as Autry, but Autry and I think Autry overall and Hunt really got dominated inside against the run game. The Chiefs continued to pound it straight down their throat, and they really had no answer for the stunts they were trying to do up front. With the Colts were trying to do up front, none of it was working. Darius Leonard did have a big fumble, a big strip, but it didn't really come in handy for the offense. I thought he played a pretty good game. I've seen him play better. He was overpowered a couple times. In the running game, he did get moved backward by a couple of receivers and running backs. I've seen him play better, but again, not a bad game by him. The secondary was okay considering who they were playing. And in the second half, they played great. And I thought the Colts defense overall in the second half played awesome. Like they gave the Colts offense a number of opportunities to score. They just weren't able to do that. So overall, I thought both defenses played a pretty good game, and the offenses were underwhelming. The Chiefs played, like, executed until the halftime, and then they sort of let the foot off the gas pedal or just weren't able to execute at the same level. But, I mean, the Chiefs were just the better team. They made less mistakes in the game, even though they did make some mistakes. But the Colts just weren't able to capitalize off the Chiefs' mistakes, and the Chiefs were able to capitalize off the Colts' mistakes. And that, at the end of the day, was the advantage. I think also the home field, the crowd was great. It was very loud. It seemed like, I wasn't at the game, but it seemed like that. And I think the crowd, the home field, definitely came into play in this game because you could see it on the field. The Colts definitely weren't a confident team, and the Chiefs carried a lot of confidence. And I think especially for their defense to play in front of their home crowd, it was a big deal and a big part of the game. So overall, that is how it went down. The Chiefs won 31-13. I think it was a little bit closer than the score indicated, but the Colts just continued to muff the ball, muff their possessions. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Let's go to the comment section. All right, Robot Guy says, good thing I didn't jump on that Colts bandwagon and actually pick them. Almost did, though. Trivia says Andrew Luck didn't fumble and maybe could have scored. If Andrew Luck didn't fumble and maybe could have scored, would have made it 31-20. Well, it should have been 31-20 if Fountain just would have caught the ball at the end of the game, but that doesn't really matter. What would have mattered is that the Colts, Adam would have kicked that field goal and before the half, which was a 29-yarder, I want to say, or something, a 22, something like that. And that was the shortest miss he's ever had in his entire career. The worst miss he's ever had. It hit the bar and it went out. And then the other one on the extra point, if he would have had those, it would have been 24-17 with the Chiefs getting the ball later in the game. And then not only do the Chiefs go down and score, but basically the way they go down and score is because there was one of the worst hitting the kicker calls I've ever seen in my life. Like, that was a terrible call. He barely even touched the punter. I don't know why that was a flag, but anyways, The Chiefs were able to get that first down and then go down the length of the field and score. So by your score, it would have been 31-24. It could have been 24-17 with the Colts getting the ball back. And the Colts extended the Chiefs' drives a lot of times with stupid penalties. So, I mean, both teams played sloppy, but the Chiefs were just a little bit more on their game. I think that's overall how you can say it. Go Chiefs says, hey, Mitch, you like that? Yeah, it was a nice win. Famous Breed says Kansas winning the bowl. Bethel says the Chiefs actually played defense. He said Famous said he put money on that game. I will say, if the Chiefs defense somehow can play the same way they did today, next week, no matter the opponent, they'll most likely be moving on to the next round. That's what I have to say. Because that pass rush definitely whooped ass. Like they definitely up front destroyed the offensive line of the Colts. So, and that was something that nobody thought would happen in this game. So overall, you got to give it to the Chiefs defensive line and pass rush. Chiefs going to make it to the Super Bowl, says Trivia. AFC South is full of pretenders and losers, says Robot. Miguel says Chiefs defense improved a lot. What else? Go Chiefs says, Mitch, it was 24-7. The offense came through when we wanted. I guess. I mean, it was close to being 24-17, and that would have been a totally different game. Chiefs versus Cowboys in the bowl, says Big Bear. Patriots are next, says Go Chiefs. What else? Trivia says, what we learned. Malik Hooker is a huge part of the defense. Chiefs offense this year is top 3 offense ever. I don't know about that. Maybe by points wise, but that's because of the era that's inflated. But they're definitely a great offense. Best offense this year. Chiefs pass rush is outstanding. Darius Leonard is still defensive rookie of the year. Mahomes for MVP. Where's Party at? Yeah, where is Party? Luck was horrible. He was pretty bad. I'm a Luck fan, and I got to admit, Luck was pretty bad. Cowboys are the scariest team, says Free Flow. Interesting. What else? Weather is bad in Kansas City except the score. Oh, a couple things I want to talk about. There were a couple of things in this game. Andy Reid, I just don't understand his decision-making on a couple of the plays. 4th and 5, you should punt that. You're up by 17, punt the ball, pin them deep. I understand you have a great offense. Punt the ball, pin them deep. You turn the ball over there, you're giving the Colts an opportunity to go down and score and make this game closer from the 40-yard line. Didn't like that decision. There was another one. There was another bad decision by Andy Reid, which I didn't like. It's just like in certain moments, like it was a little bit too aggressive. I really liked his decisions to go for it on 4th and 1. Like, definitely agree with those. But some of the decisions to go for it on like 4th and 5 and some of his decisions in that game, I wasn't a huge fan of. Maybe that's my personal opinion, but I just didn't feel like it was needed. I feel like you could, the way your defense was playing, pin them deep, hope for a turnover on downs. It's hard to play offense in your own end like that. And count on your defense the way it's going. Like sometimes coaches don't account for the game flow. I feel like in Andy Reid, I don't feel like in this game really accounted for the game flow a lot. So that's just my opinion, but I don't know. Frank Reich, I think, wasn't aggressive enough. We didn't see any calls that were aggressive. We just saw a very conservative play from the Colts, and I didn't like that. Kevin Durkan says, Mitch, the Colts are a dome team that play only warm weather dome teams all year. Of course, they would suck in the cold. They usually do. I shouldn't have thought it was going to be any different. What else? Party says, don't worry, guys. I'm not salty. Party's playing with house money. Winner of Eagles Saints will go to the Super Bowl, he says. He says Chiefs will win 37-26 in the AFC Championship game. So Party's now on the Chiefs bandwagon after being a Colts fan. Chris Jones was excellent in this game, but I thought that they would do a better job of containing the. I also thought that the line, I also thought that not just the line of the Colts, but the weather would affect the pass rush, and it seemed to affect the offensive line more. I don't know why that was, but Chiefs dominated. I can't really say. I wasn't expecting it. Sometimes I don't expect it. Last week, I expected almost everything that happened. This week so far, not good right now. You know, I thought this game could go either way. I thought that we would see a kind of a defensive game the way that we saw it. Like the offenses would still score, but the defenses would come through with a few plays because of the weather and because of all that. And the Chiefs defense did that, and the Colts defense did that in the second half. But I didn't think the Colts offense would be so stagnant in the first half for a majority of the time. And then the second half, they just weren't able to execute in the opportunities that they were given. Like I said at the beginning, a very strange game, but I'm going to wrap it up there because the Cowboys game's coming up. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. If you did, hit that like button. I think the Chiefs, if you're a Chiefs fan, they look good going into next week because I think if you can get a defensive performance similar to this, you can have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And if your offense didn't even play well in this game for the most. I mean, they played a good first half. They didn't play a good second half. And for a Chiefs offense that's played good 4 quarters for a majority of the year, I think you're looking good because your offense, can play better. So if you're a Chiefs fan, I think you're happy. And I think you're saying, hey, we could go to the Super Bowl if a few of these things that happened in this game happen next week. But I will say this. I don't think that the team coming in next week, whether it's the Chargers or the Patriots, will be as inept and as not prepared for the elements and for the Chiefs as the Colts were today. I thought the Colts were pretty bad. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe to The Bottom Line View. If you're new, it's Mitch at The Bottom Line View. And we'll see you tonight after the game. Cowboys, Rams. Enjoy the game. Peace out.